Welcome everyone to another episode of the Train Studio. I'm your host, Sean Morris. Today in the Train Studio update, just working again on some items for the 28mm project. And if you've been following along to this point, you kind of know where I'm at. If you haven't been, just a little recap. Last night I finished up this road edge here. So as you can see, it kind of mirrors up nicely with the undergrowth over here. Moved a little way away from the swampy type tufts and got more into the greens, although it's going to retain a lot of the same look because it's basically the same location. And just in thinking here, I really wanted to keep it very sort of uneven, very much overgrown, non-maintained at all, and that's kind of creating the atmosphere for the more groomed upper location here. So that's the thinking down here. That might not be everyone's taste, but for this project I really wanted to create that sort of very broken landscape. I'm still waiting on responses from the last video about the center portion. I'm really still tending to lean towards sporadic grass, very little on the grass, and then mostly tufts, just to kind of create that look down the center. So I will wait for responses on that and see what you guys think. Once that's secure to here, then I can go ahead and affix the bridge. Even previous to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the ivy creeping up here. You'll notice perhaps that there's a large space right at the back there. It's kind of left really green. It's the dark green because the scenic cement really soaks in and kind of colors the grass a little bit darker green. It's just because it puts a little shine on it. But that spot's actually going to be another space for a parent plant to kind of grow up along the wall itself. And then there'll be a few sporadic locations. This gap right here will be filled in with the ivy, and that's going to kind of creep up and sort of just transition and fill this little blank space in here. I have the building now positioned on the table, so for most of you this is kind of the real first up close and personal shots of the building itself. You can see here that I have a little bit of a transition between the building and the board itself, and I didn't want to sink it down anymore because then it would start obscuring the actual building bottom, but the doorway is a little bit raised. So I wanted to put something unique in here. So what I started working on is etching out a platform, so a stone pathway, and you'll notice I left some ridges in between there. And I just scratch built a little step to go in here. So I'm going to have a look at what the step looks like and see how that works. But for the stones themselves, what I did is I took some piece of plastic card and I just sort of etched out some patio stones, some obscure patio stones. I found some examples online of some walkways. So I kind of painted them up, a little bit of a concrete sort of texture. Cut stone sort of thing, and made them very, geometric in shape. I noticed that they have, or you'll notice that they have kind of sharp corners. That's going to likely be obscured when I put the grass in, but I really didn't want to start rounding corners and making it look artificial. I wanted to use the natural products and kind of fill in the gaps. I cut some grooves in as well, and some of these are actually this one right here, you'll notice that it's kind of forms a larger stone. That will actually be left to put a little bit of moss growing up through the stone itself. So that's why the cut's in there, so I can actually drop some scenic cement just down in that groove and then really make it look three-dimensional as it's coming out of the stone itself. So I'm going to try to paint this. I should have done the step at the same time, but I didn't, so I'm going to try to paint the step up to match and see how close I can get it. If it's not exactly the same, that's fine, because likely they weren't built at the same time anyway. Other than that, on the side here, I have two features. I have the downspout here, which I'm going to put a little bit of detritus in, and I actually thought about putting a little bit in the eaves, and I thought that was fitting, since it's going to be scattered amongst the ground. I am going to keep the leaf litter throughout the whole project, just to kind of, it's a great way of toning down the green. So when I refer to leaf litter, I'm referring to that stuff right down there if you're not familiar with the product. So but I figured might as well fill some of the eaves in with that, just to kind of unify the the project and kind of, you know, create a little bit of narrative of where exactly that leaf litter is coming from. Obviously, maybe there's some trees off board or something like that, and maybe previous years, the tree that was here, when, you know, as it turns to fall, the leaves have fallen, and not a lot of people clean the gutter, so there you go. And then obviously it's going to be on the ground as well, and that'll tie in nicely. And then also around the chimney, I had a little gap right here. When I was cutting it out, I had a hard time calculating how far the plastic card exactly was going to, because my edge wasn't perfectly even, and the house edge wasn't perfectly even, and then the plastic card sort of filled in that undulation, but it created a little bit of a gap here. So, and also I created it a little bit lower because I wanted to make that a magnetization point, so when the chimney goes in, it will actually secure with the magnets underneath. But what I want to do is I want to fill the space around that. So what I did is I'm going to create a little bit of a flower bed, and the flower bed itself is going to go halfway on either side of the chimney and then in front. So creating a little flower box. I didn't want to have something come out too far because I want to keep this area relatively open. And I was talking about kind of what to fill this in. So I'm going to start with that and the fence, and I'll see, because I want to leave some space here, and then I'll kind of go from there if I want to fill in any more space. I'm going to have the tree over there, and I thought about putting the well in there, but I think it's just too close for everything. So you guys can be the judge, and, you know, maybe put some comments in about what you think would fit nicely in there. So but that's just an update, guys. Like I said, I'm going to get the rockway laid in and the step, and then get the flower bed done, and then I might go in and do a patch of grass in there and just start working on that. And then as soon as you guys get the comments in, I will finish up the roadway and do the ivy. So more to come, guys. I'll be in the studio all day working, so feel free to comment on the videos, and I'll get back to you right away. Thanks for watching. Cheers.